All right, everybody, welcome in Season 2, Episode 18 of the Swishlist Podcast. The playoffs are in full effect, and boy, do we have so much to talk about. From the Lakers getting a gentleman's sweep, Jamal Murray sending them home yet again, this time to end the series. The Timberwolves, what do the Phoenix Suns do now? That's next up. It's Wolves Nuggets, right? How do we feel about it? We need to talk about some of the series that have not ended, right? What are we going to see out of the 76ers? Do they show any signs of life? And does anyone care about the rest of the series outside of Mavs Clippers? Because it doesn't feel like it. It feels like there's really 4 games you have to watch, and the rest don't even make it on TNT. They're like NBA TV games. So I literally looked at the games tomorrow and I was like, no way, Orlando got a primetime slot. And then I realized it was NBA TV and I was like, you fooled me. So let's start by talking about the Lakers. Roland, with about 3 minutes left in the game when it was tied, I knew the Lakers couldn't win it.
It was so good. It was just, we had the back and forth, KCP hitting the clutch 3, Austin Reeves hitting the clutch 3. Like, it was just a good back and forth. But when I saw Jamal Murray, possibility for a last second shot, Jamal Murray top of the key, we all know what to expect. For some reason, this man just, if we talk about turning a switch, Jamal Murray has got to be one of the best when it comes to that. Like, he knows his role so well, and
Yeah,
he just knows how to beat the Lakers. He knows how to beat the Lakers.
He's playoff Jamal Murray. I don't know if I've ever seen a player take their game to a level like this, to go from not an all-star, which debatable whether or not you think he should be or not based on regular season numbers, but to go from that to this, like he
was injured.
When he does this, he looks like a top 3 point guard in the league. like he sometimes he has moments where he looks more dangerous than Jalen Brunson. Okay, when he shoots it, you just think it's going in. You just don't even question it. I have an issue. If you're going to sub D'Lo out of the game and bring in Taurean Prince, why would you even have Austin Reeves defending Jamal Murray in that situation? That's what I don't understand, is why would we even have Austin Reeves in the game playing defense on Jamal Murray? If you wanted to switch him and put him starting out on like KCP, Michael Porter Jr., maybe, but why was he put in the action? Because he's not athletic enough. He's not strong enough.
He doesn't become a factor. Like, no, Jamal's not worried about him at all. And there's moments where he plays good defense. Like,
sure,
he keeps his guy in front of him, and people are like, maybe AR can really play defense. But I mean, Austin Reeves and D'Angelo Russell are not out there to play defense. And
no,
it shows up in the playoffs when they get switched off and Austin Reeves is guarding Aaron Gordon in the playoffs. I mean, in the post. Like, it's not going to work. It's not how it works.
In my opinion, the Lakers game came down to a few major moments. One spread out across the entire game is poor free throw shooting. Outside of LeBron hitting those last 2, they missed a lot of.
And you knew the Lakers were going to get a bunch of free throws.
Oh, for sure.
You have to be able to knock them down.
But they missed a ton. We saw classic Anthony Davis, who was CANCUN ready, go down with a stinger. That mattered. That was a factor. And I just think that there are moments where the Lakers, they just don't show the level of effort where they deserve to win that game. There was, like, LeBron James is in the key with Aaron Gordon, doesn't box out, gets out rebounded, and then is hoping that the wide open 3 that they get inevitably off of the offensive rebound just doesn't go in. Like, he doesn't rebound. And like, they'll call out like, oh, it was a great box out on Joker. Like, he does on occasion, but for the most part, like, he's not trying to rebound. He's not boxing out. He's not doing the extra things. He went to push the ball to his left hand and and Jokic was right next to him. Like, there's just the Lakers make these plays having Spencer Dinwiddie in the game, and for some reason they still let him shoot the basketball. Like, there's just they Spencer Dinwiddie misses 2 free throws, turns around, gets beat on defense, and Jamal Murray hits a 3, a 5-point swing. Like there were just these plays that the Lakers make that they don't deserve to be there. They didn't deserve to win that game, and the Nuggets don't do that. The Nuggets don't do it. And you could even make the argument the only reason that the Nuggets even had to play that game is because some equipment manager forgot to put their shoes on the right bus.
So argument's there. It's there.
Mm.
And I don't know how valid it is, but it's there. But I agree with you. I mean, we saw the point differential. Third quarters win basketball games. I truly
especially
believe that.
Especially this playoffs.
Just like you're talking about, it seems like, halfway through the third quarter, like you played a half of basketball, you coming out in the second half, you're already a bit tired.
Mm-hmm.
LeBron makes a stupid play. Boxing out doesn't happen. The defensive lapses that the Lakers go through, like there's parts where you can tell that they're like, this isn't going to matter. It's the middle of the third quarter. Like it's going to matter when there's 5 minutes left in the fourth. And yes, they give great effort the last few minutes of the game, but y'all had a plus 10-point lead in the first 3 games of the series. Like what happened? Even in game 4, like they blew a lead and barely won the game. So it's almost like it was bound to happen that they were going to get swept or gentlemen swept. It's a complete game, and they don't play a complete game.
Michael Porter Jr. also was lights out tonight. Lights out. And he has been the whole series. Yeah. He just was drilling 3-pointers. It felt like every game he was getting 2 wide open threes at the top of the key off the pick and roll. Like wide open. And I don't even know if I saw him miss one of those. Mm-hmm. Like his 3-point shooting was on point. He was scoring 20 plus. Jamal Murray was scoring 20 plus. Jokic 20 plus. Aaron Gordon was getting solid offensive rebounds, solid putback points. KCP, he was doing his thing. And tonight, Reggie
was clutch.
There was a stretch early in the first half where like KCP goes down with an injury. You don't know how healthy Jamal Murray is. The Lakers might be able to pull away, and Reggie just
3-pointer midi.
It was like he did when he was playing for the Clippers. Yep. Like what he would do to the Lakers when he was playing for the Clippers. Like he gave them the timely points that they needed. He really did.
Mm-hmm. Might have been their X factor for the game, for real.
Before we talk about this Timberwolves Nuggets matchup, we need to have a discussion first around the Phoenix Suns and their series with the Timberwolves, and then we'll kind of get into an analysis of what we can expect in the next round. And let me tell you something right now. If anybody knows me, if you've listened to this podcast, if you followed this journey, you already know what side I'm on, but that's a conversation, for 5-10 minutes from now. Roman, walk me through how the Phoenix Suns, right? Devin Booker, respectfully, I don't know how teams are going to guard us. How does a team like that get swept?
Chemistry. I remember at the beginning of the season, I was saying this Suns team does not have a lineup. They didn't have anybody. I think it was 3 players on their roster.
Yeah.
When they acquired Kevin Durant, and I think that's what it comes down to. You get a bunch of new players, and you build around it, and you have to go play a series against one of the top 3 teams in the West. That's what's going to happen. We know that chemistry is a major thing in the playoffs, and this team just didn't have it. It doesn't matter what kind of scores you put together. You're not going to be scary if you can't figure it out. And the whole point guard situation with them. I think it showed up in this series. They don't have a point guard. I mean, you had an analyst trying to say that they should just put IT in the game and start him at point guard. I couldn't believe it when I heard that.
Okay, yeah, awful.
This is a guy who was on a 10-day contract with a bunch of teams. But I think it's just a chemistry thing, and this proves that you can't just put 3 great scorers together and think that they can work it out. It's not how it works.
Yeah, one of the things we also mentioned throughout the season was the biggest factor on whether or not this experiment was going to work was how many games those 3 players were able to play together. And it was a game of musical chairs, and one of them wasn't playing. One of them wasn't ready to play. And they just didn't have enough games together. And if anybody thought Bradley Beal was a playoff performer, you must have never heard of the Washington Wizards. He couldn't even make the playoffs.
And when he did, he wasn't the first
And when
option.
he did, he was not the guy. So when I look at the Phoenix Suns, it's a great example that real life is not it's not NBA 2K GM work. You don't just buy the most expensive players and sim the games and you automatically win. That's not what happens. And I think there's also this narrative that these 7, 8, 9, 10 seeds had a legitimate chance. 6 seeds, the Phoenix was a 6 seed, that they have a legitimate chance at winning a title. It's just not realistic. Okay. They just like go back and look at the Phoenix Suns battling for a playoff versus a play-in spot just a few months ago. Like it never added up. It never made sense. And so I'm not surprised. And when you transition and look at the Minnesota Timberwolves, right, they are a great example of what the NBA actually is today. People love guards, but this is a game of bigs. You got to have bigs to win in this league right now, especially in the West. And I don't know if you can find very many teams that are better constructed than this Minnesota Timberwolves team. They have a veteran point guard with playoff experience. They have an electrifying shooting guard in Anthony Edwards, Michael Jordan's son, Anthony Edwards, the best scorer in the NBA, Anthony Edwards. Probably the GOAT of probably the face of the league, Anthony Edwards. Anthony Edwards. Did I mention? No, okay. All right. They have elite defense in Jaden McDaniels at the 3. Then they have 2 7-footers in Karl Anthony Towns who can step out and shoot the 3. And both of them have been willing to take the challenge and defend the on-ball screens. When they get put in the action, they're willing to step out and defend. And it's an automatic mismatch on the other end. Karl, he was fantastic shooting the 3 ball, especially in certain spots. The closeout game stands out to me. And because of their scoring, it puts Rudy in a position where he's not trash on offense. And then off the bench, you've got Naz Reid, who's another 6'10, 50, 40, 90, almost like literally borderline 50, 40, 90 guy. You've got Alexander, what is it? Alexander Nikhil Walker? No, it's Nikhil Alexander Walker. There it is. Off the bench, who's been solid as well. So you have these role players that come in. You've got Slow-Mo, Kyle Anderson. You have these solid role players that come in, they get their shots. This is one of the top defensive teams in the league, like the defensive team. So when you try to match up with these guys, like they can defend, they can stretch the floor, and on offense, they're going to get the looks that they want. And Anthony Edwards, he was a slow burner most of the series where he would be non-existent in the first half, but they would either be close or have the lead. And then in the second half, he would explode. 31 points in the closeout game, just dominant performance after dominant performance from him, dunking on Kevin Durant. Like, this is a team that really has all of the pieces to make a deep run in the postseason. Roman, your thoughts on the series overall and the Minnesota Timberwolves?
I think you described it perfectly. The way the team is built I think Jaden McDaniels is the biggest piece.
Wow.
Anthony Edwards, not like, I'm not going to say biggest piece, but X factor.
Got it. That's accurate. Yeah.
Yeah. At the beginning of the series, I mentioned the thing that Anthony Edwards said about, they have KD, but we have Jaden McDaniels.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't even put him on Kevin Durant.
Mm-hmm.
was guarding Kevin Durant. And I think that shows the versatility of this team defensively.
Mm-hmm.
Is they can just be like, we'll put him on Devin Booker. Cat can take Kevin Durant. Yes, Kevin Durant's going to go for his points. He's going to get his buckets. But like, we saw what happened. They got 4-0. They couldn't even win a game. And that's because of this defensive standard of this team. And for the longest time, I was thinking Mike Conley might be a factor for them, like defensively. But I mean, they are just holding their own regardless. They're hitting the shot that they need to hit. Like, they just 4-0'd a team that there's no reason that team shouldn't have been able to win one game. Like, we saw glimpses throughout the regular season of what Bradley Beal, Devin Booker, and Kevin Durant could have looked like. And the Timberwolves just absolutely destroyed that idea. Just demolished it. So, like you said, I think this team has a great fit, but unfortunately, they're going to run into somebody here in the next draft.
Yeah, but kind of before we get into, there's a couple more things I just wanted to say, and to your credit, saying that Jaden is the X factor, it's because like defense doesn't show up on the stat sheet, right? No one cares to listen to analytics guy talk about opposing field goal percentage, other than like if it's Luka Doncic, because like the belief is that he doesn't defend. Um, there was and it's not just individual defense. There was a specific possession in the second half of the Timberwolves game where it was a full 5-man rotation where like they send the double to Devin Booker and every single guy rotated, and it gave Conley enough time to get to the opposite side corner because Booker was at the wing, and then he tipped the ball and they got a turnover. Like it was literally perfect team defense. And I'm not saying that the Timberwolves play perfect team defense all the time. That's not what I'm saying. But they play team defense at a high level. And Anthony Edwards, he galvanizes that team. They know he's the guy, and he comes to play. He's gonna do it to the fans. He's gonna call out the players, and then he backs it up. And so I genuinely think that the best series that we may watch in the postseason is going to be Timberwolves versus Denver. And there's no better time to be the Minnesota Timberwolves because the Denver Nuggets are not as healthy as they're going to look on paper. They're not as healthy as what you just saw tonight, ladies and gentlemen. They're not. You don't think Jamal Murray, that calf issue, is not going to be a thing? Good luck in the action trying to defend Anthony Edwards. KCP already is dealing with stuff. So is Reggie Jackson. He's dealing with stuff. Like, this is the type of team that you do not want to play if you're banged up. I believe, and I know this is going back on my pick going into the postseason. I'm making a switch. I'm calling something that's never happened before. I have the Minnesota Timberwolves beating the Nuggets. I have them beating the Nuggets in 6 games. I have the Minnesota Timberwolves going to the finals. I believe that the Minnesota Timberwolves are positioned to win this series. They match up at every position. They can put a 7-footer on Aaron Gordon instead of someone that's about the same size. They can put a 7-footer on Jokic. They've got guys who can take the challenge off the bench, and they can score the ball at an elite level and really push the Denver Nuggets to their limit. And Denver doesn't have the bench that they did last year. Denver last year beats Denver this year, and Minnesota this year beats Denver this year.
No, because you're forgetting one thing. Nikola Jokic owns Rudy Gobert. Absolutely owns the man. He cannot guard him. And if he matches up against him, Jokic is going to average a 40-point triple-double. So I'm with you on 6 games, but I'm just switching it to Nuggets. I'm taking the more experienced team.
Sometimes it's hard for me to look at you and like think that we're brothers because you say things that are just so wrong.
How is that wrong? I was in person for Rudy Gobert versus Nikola Jokic in a
That's true.
basically deciding game for the 1 seed.
Yeah,
One of those
facts.
games. And I remember Nikola Jokic putting up, I think, a 40-point, almost triple-double. And Rudy Gobert complaining the whole game. I remember this. I think that was
The regular season doesn't matter, Roman. Okay?
It does when the seeding is on the line.
Well,
I could tell that felt like playoff basketball.
I don't know. I think the Timberwolves were pretty happy when they swept the Phoenix Suns, being the 3 seed. Just saying. I think that they're gonna. The one thing that scares me is the fact that I have to put my faith in Rudy Gobert to stop Jokic. That is mortifying. That is mortifying. It almost makes me as sick as when people say that Rudy Gobert should be a Hall of Famer. Wow.
Well, we have our predictions for that series. I feel like Timberwolves steal one of the first 2 games at home, but then it's just Nikola Jokic just takes over the series because he knows how bad Rudy Gobert is in a half-court defense, and he can just take advantage of that.
Okay, I'm going to call the series right now. Here's how it's going to go. Timberwolves come out and they punch Denver in the mouth early. They're fired up, and Denver's a little bit not super healthy. Minnesota wins game 1. And then Denver wins back-to-back. They win game 2, and then they win game 3. Minnesota equalizes game 4 and then wins game. Well, this is where it we're gonna have opposite opinions here, but then whoever's winning that series wins games 5 and 6.
Mm-hmm.
That's how the first 4 games, I think it's going to be Minnesota, Denver, Minnesota. That's how I have the first 4 games going.
I say it goes Denver, Minnesota, Denver, Minnesota, Denver, Denver.
Got it. So you've got it.
It's going to be 1-1, 2-1. It's going to be 1-1. It's going to be 1-1, then 2-2, then 2-4.
Got it. So we're trading haymakers, and then we get late in the game, and Minnesota can't contend. And this is barring no major injuries. Okay. For the people that were in our comment section are saying different things because the Bucks have been even more injured than we thought going into the postseason. I just don't want to hear it. Go talk about a legitimate series. All right. I'll just say that. I'll just say that. So this is barring health, but
and they're going to have a lot of time to rest too now because we have to watch the rest of these first round series before we can commence the second round. So
no, it's true.
Might have up to a week off.
It's true. The Timberwolves needed the Lakers to win, and it just there was no way. There was literally no way. So you're telling me, based on what you've seen Denver do, you have faith in that team?
Ultimately, yes. The champion of the league last year, yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
You don't not even a little bit. You don't. Not even a piece of you is afraid of Anthony Edwards. Not at all.
Not really.
Wow.
They've got KCP. They've got KCP and Jaden McDaniels. I mean, they got KCP and Aaron Gordon. I mean, I like him. And Michael Porter Jr. is not a bad defender. People want to act like he's a bad defender, but everybody in that lineup plays defense.
Yeah, but this is Anthony Edwards. Okay.
I don't deny that, but this the champions. This is the Nuggets.
It's a new season. All right.
He's gonna have his points. He might get the same averages that he did last series, but I think it's gonna end in an L.
I think he's gonna drop 36 in game 1. Timberwolves win. No. Okay. Let us know in the comment section who you've got winning that series. I want to know, are you backing me? Are you on the money side, the smart side, the Timberwolves?
Or no, are you on the Moses side or the Roman side?
Or do you want to be on the
Roman side?
Himself? Do you want to be on the Roman side, picking the Denver Nuggets? Just going
to be on the side of the former champions or the young team who could surprise somebody? I don't know. If you're playing it risky, you might want to go with him. But if you know how the NBA works, you might want to go with the Nuggets.
Roman's the S&P 500, and I'm crypto. I'm Bitcoin. Minnesota's Bitcoin, right?
You might make a lot of money with this guy.
This is the first series they've won in 20 years. Okay, this is Bitcoin on the rise, right? Bitcoin just cleared 40K, and you're hoping it's going to clear 60. And I've been holding Bitcoin forever on this. I'm one of the only investors in the Timberwolves LLC, and I've got them
cashed out right now.
No, I'm doubling down, double down, golden nuggets, triple down, risk it all. Okay, you can't afford anything in America unless you take major risks that could just make it sure you lose literally everything.
And that's what the Timberwolves are.
And Swishlist Podcast is, we do not give out financial advice, but I will just say this.
But he does.
That is not how I invest in my personal life. But in terms of basketball, there's never been a better time in my adult life to back the Minnesota Timberwolves than right now.
This is childhood Moses living out his dream.
It is. This is the best it's ever been. Okay, so let's transition. Let's talk about the Clippers and the Mavericks, where the Clippers look better when Kawhi doesn't play, and Russell Westbrook has been an abject disaster on the basketball court. Uh, the Mavs, Kyrie has made some impossible shots. Luka has been okay. I don't think that Luka's really played to his level personally. I'm not saying he's not showing up for the playoffs. Luka has plenty of playoff moments. Just up to this point in the series, I believe that Luka has another gear that he could reach. Paul George was insane last game, but the Clippers were up 31 points and literally like almost lost the game. So how do we make sense of this series? Like,
You
what is
can't.
going on right now?
You can't, because at first it was, okay, well, Kawhi's out. This doesn't look good. But
Mm-hmm.
this just gave the opportunity for James Harden and Paul George to thrive.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you saw Paul George take over the first half of that game, but then he just kind of went away.
Yeah.
But then you see how many floaters James Harden put in at the end of the game. It felt
was like
he made,
five. It was like
I think it was five straight.
in the court. Yes.
10 straight. But like,
Yes.
he just left hand floor.
Over and over again.
It might be the best shot in the game right now. Like, it is
Him and Brunson,
unstoppable.
dude. Him and Brunson.
It is unstoppable. He just drops it off, and that won them the game. And now the series tie. If that doesn't happen, like if he doesn't take over, this is a 3-1 series right now. We're basically
100%.
saying it's over.
100%.
But now it's 2-2. We're headed back to LA. It's very easy for them to James Harden just take over and have 25 in the first half, and Paul George goes for 30 in the second half, and it's game over. So this series is just so unpredictable, because at the same time, I mean, Kyrie's putting up a 40-point game, and it's super quiet because this is basically Luka's team.
Yeah.
The role players are working out. So this is completely unpredictable. I think I think I said Clippers in 7. So I'm going to stick with it and say that happens. But again, the uncertainty in this series is all over the place. It has been one of the most interesting series, because one game you're like, okay, this team has got it. And then the next game you're like, no, they don't.
Yeah. And you shouldn't play Kawhi until you need to. Keep him out. Keep him out.
The inflammation is always going to be there, it seems like. So
hey, see what happens in game 5. Let's roll the freaking dice. Let's roll the dice.
Well.
Let's roll the dice. Now, I do believe that the Mavericks role players are far and away outplaying the Clippers role players. I think Zubac has been good, but PJ Washington has been great. I think Gafford, barring the injuries he's kind of dealing with, has been solid.
They have one bad game, yeah.
Their backup center,
Lively?
Rook? He plays hard. Pause.
Rook had some very clutch plays.
Yeah, he takes the challenge, and he's not backing down from anybody. The Mavericks are not backing down from anybody. Like, this is genuinely a good series. If the Clippers role players, I mean, Norman Powell, he's just a solid bench player. He's a solid player.
He's gonna hit the 3.
He's gonna jump 3 feet in the air and hit some big time threes. Like, you just know it's gonna happen. But man, it's just fun to watch. I also have the Clippers in 5. I have the Clippers in 7. I have them winning game 5. That's what I meant to say. I have Clippers in 7. I have them winning game 5. But a great series to watch. You're going to see some great shot making. I mean, the Paul George step back 3 almost looked like it was from the side of the back, like it went over the backboard. It was a crazy shot. Just a crazy shot. It's must-see TV. And another series that's must-see TV right now is the 76ers Knicks series. Like, the 3-1 that we're looking at right now, it doesn't feel like it's 3-1 at all. And it also feels like every game's been a home game for the Knicks. But Jalen Brunson, ladies and gentlemen, Jalen Brunson's the truth.
He's here.
He is the life. He might be Lizan Al-Gaib. This guy is the savior of the New York Knicks.
They finally gave him his own team. Could you imagine if somebody like him and Luka played together?
Oh, dude. Him and Luka would have been crazy.
No, but But for real, I mean, it just seems like when Brunson gets in isolation,
Mhm.
it just feels like he's going to score every time. Like if he gets in the paint, whatever he throws up is going in. And again, it definitely feels like this is a 2-2 series because of
Yeah.
how much the 76ers got screwed. Uh,
Yeah.
and they probably should have won a game and it should be 2-2. And again, it's just wild how much one game can affect a series. Like
Mhm.
the difference between 2-2 and 3, I mean, yeah, 2-2 and 3-1 is unbelievable. But the Knicks players are filling up. Josh Hart is, I mean, he said this in his podcast. He's just there to be in the game and mess everything up. And
Yeah.
he does exactly that. I think he had 15 boards last game.
Oh, the
Just
offensive
out there.
rebounding for the Knicks has been elite.
He gets so many boards. I think OG
So many.
Anunoby was the perfect pickup for this team.
100%.
Absolutely. He just ties everything together. Just ties everything together. DiVincenzo is more confident than any role player I've ever seen taking a 3-point shot. Like they just look good. I mean,
Hartenstein's been great too.
yes.
He's
Yes.
been
I mean,
solid. He's been solid.
the man had 5 fouls in 1 quarter.
Yes, yes, and you look at that and you hate to see it, but I genuinely think the effort's been there, and he's had a decent floater that he's been able to hit consistently.
I think Mitchell Robinson getting hurt was the best thing that could happen for them because now they have 2 bigs who are experienced playing with this team.
And Mitchell Robinson's not like he's not a scoring threat outside of like the lob. Like but Hartenstein, he's able to hit like that 6 to 8 foot put shot.
He's got his push shot. He does.
Like he'll hit that. I don't think there's a team with more chemistry than this Knicks team in the playoffs.
Possibly the
Like,
Nuggets, but
yeah, sure, but like the Nuggets, there's like a cool factor where they've been here before. Like they sit alone as champions of the league, where the Knicks, in terms of everybody that's fighting to steal the crown, I, they just are. They move as one, dude, and they play hard every second of the game. Tobias Harris has been a disaster. He's been awful. He has been garbage. And Maxi, I'm not going to say Maxi's been bad, but he just makes foolish plays. He just has moments where his decision making is just not there. And I'm like, dude, the ball's in your hand, man.
this was his opportunity.
Like you really he makes plays that you just scratch your head a little bit. And I mean, I don't personally, I've never been a fan of Kyle Lowry. I don't love watching the way that he plays basketball. I don't like when people are like, look at how smart this player is and they're flopping. I just that's not really something that I can get behind. Um, do I think the Sixers can win a game? Maybe two. Sure. Are the Sixers going to win this series? No. No. Like Joel Embiid is dealing with Bell's palsy. The guy can barely blink.
Blinking with one eye, guys.
And he's a house of cards, dude. Every time he falls, he's grabbing the knee immediately. Also, the Sixers are just like they're not, and I'm surprised from a Nick Nurse team, but they're like erratic, overly emotional. They're not like,
There's a
especially
lot of
Embiid,
complaining this year.
a lot of from across the board, but also like Embiid, he's like, he's hitting people a little bit more than he needs to. He's giving a little bit extra on the screens. He's it just feels like they're out of control. And I genuinely think that's one of the major reasons why you're going to see the downfall of the 76ers.
Well, another thing with them is they do this mid-season acquisition to get Buddy Hield, and they haven't used him.
Yeah.
He basically went out of the rotation. And
Mhm.
I mean, yeah, he wasn't playing well, but that's a guy, if he gets streaky, can basically win you a game. Like,
And why would you not, especially while Embiid was out and they were losing games, figure it out. You got to figure out you got to figure out a way to keep this guy involved, because now this is where you need the shooting. And this is not a knock to Kyle Lowry, but you could also use some of the size because you're getting beat on the boards like crazy because you're running double point guards.
Mm-hmm. Campaign is it's not going to cut it.
No.
Campaign to Kyle Lowry is not going to cut it.
No, dude, Josh Hart's a dog. Dante DiVincenzo is a dog. Jalen Brunson is a dog.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? Like
There's a few teams that are just filled with defensive teams, and the Knicks are one of them. They're one of them.
I do still think the Knicks are going to run out of gas because Tom Thibodeau's an idiot in terms of how he manages people's minutes. But
it's an ACL tear from somebody.
But what a time! What a time to be a Knicks fan because you're playing the Pacers next round. Like you
feel pretty good.
You could make a run and get clubbed by the Celtics. Like you could make a run. It's gonna be fun. What a time!
It's the conference finals, though.
I know.
You're a top 4 team in the league at that point.
Yeah. And the Knicks, they're gonna have a whole lot to say. They're gonna have a whole lot to say.
Stephen A. Smith will not let that go until this time next
Stephen A. Smith said today that Devin Booker wants to play for the Knicks. How do you get away with saying that on national television?
It's because he can say anything. She could just say anything.
I hate ESPN, dude. Gosh, they're so bad. It's
bad.
so awful. And no, JJ, we're not talking about you. We're not talking about Richard Jefferson. But just
yes, there's a few bad apples.
Yes, and they're like they really have ruined the barrel.
They've ruined it. Like when I see that it's an ESPN day, or there's like 3 ESPN games, I'm like, which one's gonna be Hubie?
Terrible. Nobody like I don't. Is it Disney? I don't. How
they must have been trying to clean up their image, and they had to go for a 95-year-old to do it.
They just like you're telling me we fired Mark Jackson and Van Gundy, and we kept that guy.
We kept the guy who should have been retired probably 15 years ago.
Yeah, like it's just.
I'm sick of the list is just describing like how it feels to be a fan of a team. Like commentators supposed to tell me what's going on,
Yeah.
Filter some facts, some stuff that's been going on during the game, but it's just, Hubie Brown's just like, okay, this is what just happened. If a team goes on a run, he likes to talk about it for about 20 minutes. Like
and this is an 8-2 run. And when it's an 8-2 run, the game is tough. It's so tough to play basketball when you're facing an 8-2 run. Now what you have to do when you get the ball is you got to run the pick and roll. This is what he loves to do. And then he spins back inside. And if you're a Bucks fan, you've seen this a million times. He's going to spin back inside and shoot the jump shot. But if he misses and it's a 10-2 run, then what do? Maybe you call a timeout. I'm not sure.
That's exactly what it is. If you're a Bucks fan, you love this right now because since the first quarter, this team has gone on a 30-15 run.
And he doesn't love this. And he doesn't even stop for a made shot. He's like, yeah, and then Middleton made a shot right there. But anyways.
And then Mark tries to bring him back, and he's like, deep in his panic, like the fries are at the bottom. Or the bank wasn't open. This was Cash App, and I'm sure Hubie's just sitting there like, what is this guy talking about?
And the Clippers are gonna set sail like the Clips they really are. We're gonna eclipse the Dallas Mavericks in this game. The scoring has been unstoppable.
Next time you watch this guy, I just want you to listen to how hard he pushes his vocabulary. Just
vernacular on another level.
It's unbelievable.
Vernacular on another level.
Talked enough about the announcers.
Indiana Pacers and the Milwaukee Bucks. Who's gonna get blamed for the Bucks falling apart? Like, is anyone to blame? Is
too many people to blame at this point?
Really, too many?
The coaching decision was awful, and I'm sure somewhere down the line we'll learn something that Adrian Griffin had done, or there was a major reason that he got fired.
Oh yeah, you know
Maybe
it's
he
coming
said
out.
something to Giannis, but I need to know what happened. I need to know what happened because you're the second team. I think they were the second team in the East, and they fired their coach. And I mean, Doc Rivers has had a losing record as the coach.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, it's just so why I feel bad for Bucks fans. Your franchise player is hurt. I mean, not surprised. This is what happens to Giannis.
He plays like a maniac, dude.
You go out and get Damian Lillard injury, and you get beat by a young Pacers team.
Maybe Giannis should learn how to shoot the ball so that he doesn't have to play like
so he doesn't have to drive 100%.
Yes, and fall all the time and get elbowed and beat up through the season, and then can play in the postseason. Maybe he should do that in the postseason and not for 80 games.
This is going to be Giannis's thing. It's in the next couple of years, they'll have one more healthy season and they might win a championship. And then it'll be one of those big what ifs. Like if Giannis just could have stayed healthy, and he'll have 2 rings, and if he'll have some of the craziest stat lines, craziest averages, but just a guy who could never stay healthy.
I think at this point, though, if you lose this next game, you really got to cycle out some of these guys. Like the old bench guys, it's over. I don't know if you do the Brook Lopez, Bobby Portis thing again. Not saying you have to get rid of both, but like you're moving on from somebody. Like
they could get a lot for that.
They need to breathe some life into this franchise. They're old. I think they're one of the oldest rosters in the league. And it shows because all those players aren't playing. And wow, it's what a bummer. The shots that Middleton hit to keep them alive and then to just lose. And I love that it was Pat Bev, Mr. Defense, that just got completely exposed.
He got crossed.
He jumped.
Loader.
He got crossed so bad he jumped.
And he fouled him.
Yes, and then Rand fouled him and pointed to everybody else like he wasn't the one that got just cooked.
That's what happens when Patrick Beverley is your starting.
100%. No, 100%. 100%. So, like Bucks fans, it's tough because that is a team that I genuinely think could give the Celtics a series because Giannis is elite. But we've seen how this goes when they end up in situations like this. We saw it with Miami. If they bring Giannis back and they win a game, they don't win game 6.
He can't do it again.
He can't do it again. Like he's just not healthy enough. And with the calf strain, you start worrying that you're going to find yourself in a Kevin Durant situation where he's going to tear his Achilles because you rush him back, or something else is going to tear. And for Giannis, who relies on his athleticism, a tear is a much bigger issue compared to a Kevin Durant.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, we've got Orlando and the Cavs, which was looking like it was going to be a sweep until the series shifted to Orlando, and all of a sudden, the kids
are performing. This has been one of my favorite series, and it's just I think half of the games they just don't televise them because
90% of the people listening haven't even seen a minute of the series.
No, but okay, we talked about how the Knicks are one of those teams. I love watching the Magic play. They give so much effort. Like Gary Harris and Jalen Suggs are like just 2 of my favorite players right now. They're everywhere on the defensive end. They're energy guys. Paulo is performing very well.
Oh yeah,
the Wagner brothers are providing so much energy for this team. Like this is one of the young teams that is they're just playing well. They're just playing well, and they're giving the Cavs a run for their money.
The brothers are kind of annoying. I don't need they're a little extra, and they haven't earned the right to kind of do that.
They're basing this all off of their feeble and
so like that. I'm like, you two are just like annoying. But dude, if Donovan chokes,
what do the Cavs do?
They trade Donovan probably.
If he can't make it out the first round, but even this is scary. To let this team win 2 games.
Yeah, and not just win 2 games, like the convincing fashion. Like they have beat the tar out of them.
Shut them down.
Yeah. Yeah, I know game 5, you gotta have NBA TV to watch it. But it's
Playoff.
yeah, to watch the freaking postseason, but it's gonna be a decent watch. So I'm on the Orlando side in that series. You're still on the Cavs. You want to make a change, or are you sticking with the Cavs?
No, I'm still going Cavs in 7, but it hurts me because I really do like this young team.
You know, Pat Riley said that it's not a series until the team wins on the road, and that's definitely the case for this one. It is not a series yet until we see someone win on the road. Celtics are absolutely dominating the Miami Heat. It's no surprise. I think no one's shocked that Miami was able to pick up a game, but it's just not competitive. I mean, when Derek White is doing what he's doing, it's scary. I didn't see if Kristaps Porzingis came back after his injury. That's probably the only thing that's scary right now. It was a non-contact injury, lower leg, is what it seemed for Porzingis. That's a major loss for Boston.
Well, yeah, I mean,
huge.
they're putting up almost 20 points a game for them,
Mhm.
and as much as Al Horford can help them, he's getting really old. He's been playing backup minutes, which is where he's good now, and they can really hurt them in the long run. Like Eastern Conference Finals comes up, and they don't have Kristaps, and like you said, it was a non-contact injury. This guy might have a strain, tear, like he could be out for weeks, which could really hurt them. And I mean, if nothing else, it hurts their chemistry when he comes back too. So
Yeah.
it's something to keep an eye on.
They won't need him to win the East. But if you see Denver without him, Minnesota without him, you're going to be in trouble, dude. You're going to be in trouble.
Who's their backup center with Al
Exactly.
Horford taking a spot?
Exactly.
That's Luke
thing.
Cornett.
Yeah, bad.
Mr. Guard 3-pointers. He was getting minutes. He was getting minutes.
He
I don't
was
know if I
getting
liked
minutes.
him as a backup.
The last team, Oklahoma City, completes the sweep. They swept the Pelicans, who get to head their way to what was it? Galveston. That's what Charles Barkley was saying. They can go swim in that dirty water on the beach. On the beach.
Yeah.
Oh, Charles, the national treasure. Oklahoma City, they really put him away. It was a shame we didn't get to see Zion Williamson, because I really think that would have made it a series. But at this point, it doesn't feel like Brandon Ingram's game really fits in today's NBA. And I've kind of been on this for 4 or 5 years. It's not that he's not a solid player; he can't score the ball, but a mid-range reliant player, similar to Phoenix, had 3 mid-range reliant players. I just don't think his game in particular, and how slow he plays and just slows down their offense, I don't think it was conducive for putting together a winning formula against a team like OKC.
It's good for some regular season takeover.
Yeah.
That's about it. The thing with this series is, I'm just confused. Is OKC this good, or were the Pelicans just that bad? Was CJ McCollum just that bad?
No, CJ was not good, and I think the Pelicans are just not good. Like, wait till they play the Clippers or the Clippers or the Mavericks.
I think one of those teams is going to come up and absolutely punch him in the mouth.
They're going to punch them in the freaking face, dude. Early in the series. Like, they're going to throat punch them. Gasping for air.
Consistent. OKC is, I can't say it enough. They are just consistent around the board. They have great coaching. They have great rim protection. They finish at the rim. They pass the ball well. They shoot the ball. They get to the line. That they play so many guys. They know what they're doing, and it's interesting to see.
And their rotation is huge. I think they have the deepest rotation of any team in the playoffs. They're still
like 11 players in the first half.
Yes. They're playing. Like, everybody's playing, and everybody's contributing. It's not like anybody just fades off into like the sunset. Like, everybody shows up. You've got your 3-point shooters. You've got your guys that are driving to the basket, driving kick. You've got your defensive stoppers. Like everybody is showing up, taking the challenge and enjoying it, enjoying every minute of it.
And they got a couple of bets too. You look over, you see Bismack on the bench, you see Gordon Hayward getting a few minutes a game. Like,
Sure.
you've got a couple older guys. Like,
And they're going to be rested.
Might be a scary team. Yeah,
They're going to be rested. If the Maverick series goes 7, that's a lot of rest.
It's a lot of rest for a young team who has never seen a second round of playoffs and really has no fear. Who is going to have home court advantage?
Valid. And so that kind of rounds out a lot of what the playoffs have been. I think I think we really covered it. Where if you've missed any of these series, if you missed any of these games, our hope is you were able to pick up on a gem or two that allows you to better look at some of these teams as they move on to the second round, or what to look for the series that are still going. That's our hope. And we want to know, right? Like, what's your favorite series to watch this year in the postseason? Let us know in the comment section. Like, who do you have going to the finals? Do you believe that Minnesota has the opportunity, has the chance to take down the defending champs? The winners do. Me. But like that's a lot of analysis in terms of kind of where we're at right now. Roman, anything else that you want to break down before we close out?
I want to know, does anybody have a chance in the East, especially with the Bucks going down? Like, are the Knicks really the closest things to the Celtics in the East?
Yeah. I mean, Knicks Pacers could be a good series, right? Seeing Brunson playing against Halliburton, right? Halliburton being the guy who's on Team USA against Jalen Brunson, who a lot of people think should have been there. I don't know, man. I don't know. Yeah, the Knicks. The Knicks.
If that's the case, like, if the Celtics can't run away with this to the finals, this is bad.
If the Celtics don't go to the finals this year, it is.
Is it split up time? Is it get a bunch of draft picks for the next 10 years?
How if they don't make it to the finals, I don't understand why we're doing the Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum thing again.
No, yeah, that's probably what it is. Let's chip
Yeah.
away,
Keep
Jaylen
everybody,
Brown, and
but
get ourselves
move.
more pieces.
Yeah,
Yeah, at least
It's-
draft picks.
yeah. You're trading Jaylen Brown. If you lose and you don't go to the finals, Jaylen Brown, you're out of here.
Let's get ourselves another Derek White in the starting lineup.
I mean, the guy's got like 6 weeks to win 6 rings based on his interview with Taylor Rooks. Like,
It's now Jaylen Brown. This is your opportunity. We can't have you scoring 17 points.
gosh,
We can't have Derek White outscoring these two. These two combined.
Hey, a win's a win, my boy.
40.
A win's a
Why
win,
is
my
Derek
boy.
White taking almost 30 shots? What's going on?
I don't know.
Let's close by
let's-
talking about this. Let's close with this. The Lakers are never going to beat Denver the way that they're currently constructed. There's a million things that they have to do, and I don't know if I have the confidence in the ownership group or the head coach to do what they need to. Are we going to see LeBron James in a different uniform next season?
It's just, I was just talking to some of my buddies about this. Like, is this Lakers thing over? Like, what?
Yeah.
What do we do from here? Seeing as how Bronny just entered the transfer portal, I think it's one last time. But there has to be some changes. You need some different players or some healthy players, but they could get a lot of, if they did some trades or just move some money around, they could really get some good role players. But at this point, if AD's not going to stay healthy and take over this team and Braun still has to drop 30-point triple doubles, you're going to be a first round exit.
Go play with somebody that actually wants the ball in the fourth quarter. If I'm LeBron,
It doesn't injure themselves late in the third quarter.
Yeah, a stinger.
Well, what are your thoughts on Braun What if he went back to Cleveland? Darius Garland, Donovan Mitchell, LeBron James, and the Twin Towers.
It's just hard because he's already gone back.
Yeah, a third time would be kind of crazy. That's like somebody retiring 3 times.
I think that there's 2 teams I think there's 2 teams that he shouldn't go to. I think he shouldn't go to Cleveland. Unless he's like, this is literally, I'm done with the NBA. Maybe. But I don't
Like,
think
to retirement season.
a full-on
farewell
tour.
Yeah.
I think he shouldn't go to Golden State, and I think he shouldn't go to Cleveland. I think those are the 2 that would hurt him the most. And that he really needs to avoid. If he avoids those 2 teams, he can go to really anybody else from there.
The only reason he would go to those is because his son would go to those. Is that what you're saying?
Can't go to Denver though. That's another one.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That would be the weirdest thing ever.
Yeah.
LeBron in a lot of teams doesn't seem right. I don't know. Hopefully he can just finish his career as a Laker, to be honest. Like, I think that would be best.
Yeah, people should just stop holding him to an unrealistic standard.
And here comes the conversation of I don't know what my future looks like. I don't know if I'll be back next year.
Yeah, we jumped immediately into the pod, so we haven't gotten to see LeBron's post-game interview. He'll be probably one of the first things I do as soon as we jump off. But so we'll see what he says. He was very cryptic last year, and that was coming off of a Western Conference Finals appearance. I can only imagine what it's going to be like this year. I'll tell you what he won't. I'll tell you what he won't say. He won't say it's just basketball. Everybody pulling that everyone pulling that completely out of context is ridiculous.
Yes, it happens too much, and that's gonna be a clip that is around for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
Just basketball. It's just basketball.
Yeah. And with that, that's going to be it for us for season 2, episode 18 of the Swishlist Podcast. We appreciate every single one of you for being willing to go on this journey with us, to listen to the pod. And please give us a follow, rate, review, subscribe, share this podcast with somebody that you feel like needs to make better picks going into the second round of the postseason. All the degenerate gamblers out there, this is the kind of information that you need when you're trying to make your picks for the next round. We're on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, YouTube, Spotify, Apple Music. We're on your favorite podcaster's favorite platform. Okay, we're everywhere. So please share this podcast with somebody and let us know what you think. Right, hit us up in the DMs. Let us know, like, what did you like, what did you not, what stuff do you want us to talk about next week? And with that, Roman, send us off.
It's playoff time. Let us know what you want us to talk about. Interact with us. Otherwise, we're just going to give you our thoughts on the games, on the rounds, what the future looks like. This is the best time to talk about. This is what we want to talk about. But if you have any other ideas, you just let us know. But like Moses said, we are on everything. So interact with us, follow us, subscribe, like. We are here. Episode 18, Swishlist Podcast. We are out.